Get feedback.
How about now? Can you hear us?
Can anybody
hear us?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're all right. It went on there.
We tested this a few minutes ago, and for some reason, okay, you can hear us now.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for confirming. We actually tested this probably about 30 minutes ago, and we had sound, and for some reason, something must have glitched. But hey, we're in a haunted location, so it's not uncommon for tech to go kind of wonky. So let's try this again. Welcome. You're locked in for the next hour here at the historic Scott County Jail with myself, my co-partner, Dr. Sumner here, and we have a very special guest tonight.
We do. Yeah, we're really excited about this. But first of all, it's been an amazing week since we joined y'all last week. We've had a lot going on. Our flashlight tours have been great. A lot of good reception from those. So thank you for those that have come out and spent their evening with us. We still have a couple spots available for our Crimes of Passion flashlight tour. So if you want to take advantage of those, please visit our website, which is scrolling across the screen there.
Yes, so those Crimes of Passion flashlight tours take place every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. And so this coming Saturday and Sunday, I believe, are sold out, but we still have a few tickets for Friday night. You can get those on the website. Or if something, if you want to talk to us, you can give us a call on the phone there, and we can get you set up online. So next month, we are this week going to be announcing the dates for March and April for our flashlight tours, and those are going to have a totally different theme. We'll be releasing and kind of talking a little bit more about that a little bit later on, but we figure we'll go ahead, since they were so popular here during the month of February, we're going to go ahead and release March and April.
Yeah, absolutely. So Miranda said we've got a great guest tonight. Since I've moved here to Scott County, I've heard nothing but great things. I was able to be here for the 4th of July parade this year and just saw a great representation of the guests that we're going to have tonight. So we're going to go ahead and welcome our guest, Mr. Randall Byrge.
Hello, good evening.
Hey, how are you?
It's a humming.
Got some feedback here. There we go.
All right, now let's try it.
Hello and good evening, everybody. I just looked at my Facebook and I didn't see it on there. If we can hit it on there, but we thank y'all for tuning in. I want to say something. Scott County, I don't know why you ain't been down here to listen. I ain't locking you up no more. You're allowed to go home after you come and look at this, but we just took a tour around here and looked at the stuff in here. There's stuff that I'd never heard about. And you need to come here and check this place. I mean, this is interesting. This is our history. There's a lot of interesting stuff down here. Y'all need to come down here and check this thing out. I know this. We're gonna be bringing Addie back and try to bring some recovery folks down. Hey, Ronnie, Sheriff's Department, y'all need to come down here and look at this stuff. I mean, it's interesting stuff. So I've already had a good time looking around. Probably look around after we get done.
That's right. That's right. We're going to be here all evening, and we're excited to share with Randy what we've done. So let's go ahead and kind of get into the interview just a little bit here. Why don't you tell us who you are and why you're here with us?
Well, I'm Randall Scott Byrge, born and raised a mile from here. Just down the road. My mom and dad are James and Mitzi Byrge. Anybody that knows them will always say two things: best parents a man could ask for, and they feed you well. So that's who my mom and dad are. And that's really where the story kind of comes in. That's why mine's a little bit different than a lot of people's, is as far as excuses go. For having, the background that I have and the story that I have. A lot of people think it's because of someone else. But listen, when you're raised like I was raised, that's the right there on that picture, the best two parents a man could ask for. Those two people have done without food so their boys could have. I remember my dad having a piece of junk truck all our life and making sure mommy had something dependable, and they've done without their whole life. So their kids could have. So if the only way you could become a drug addict is by having a bad family, well, that's not true. And that's really one of the stories we want to get out, is it can happen to anybody. You can protect your kids. You can hide your kids. But the only way that we can actually help them is to hope that they never try it. And that's really my story. I tried it one time and it took my life over.
So, if you don't mind sharing that testimony a little bit more, just kind of, obviously you said you were born here in Scott County, and then kind of what the progression was from where you were to where you are now.
Well, I always tell everybody everywhere I go and talk, I've been able to share my story a lot. And, growing up the way I grew up, I wasn't raised to want big houses and fancy cars and stuff. So we never had that kind of stuff. Didn't know we were poor until later on in life because, I had Abercrombie clothes and I had nice pants. I didn't know that all my stuff come from a yard sale. And my mom went out every weekend to make sure I had the stuff. So somebody made fun of me for not having the good stuff. And my family always put out so I could have. So I remember just wanting a relationship like my mom and my dad had. Just even today, they found that I was coming out here to speak, and I never even asked them because I know they're busy. My mom's been sick, and listen, they're getting a little older, and they don't need to be dealing with a 6-year-old that has no stop in her. She's always running. And they called and saved the day again, and come by and picked up Miss Addie and took her to their house. And so I grew up just wanting a relationship like my mom and dad had. They've been married for a long, long time. I think it was 48 years. Numbers gets crazy to me, so I don't really know. But I know they've been married a long time, and that's all I wanted out of life. So that's what I went after. First girlfriend, I met her right over here across at the Huntsville pool. That's where I met my first girlfriend at. That's where Miranda was talking. That's where a lot of people remember us 3 Wild Birds boys was out here at the Huntsville pool. We kept the doors open for a long time. But that's where I met my first girlfriend at, and started my relationship there. And kids growing up today think parents don't want them to have a relationship, don't want them doing things they shouldn't be doing, if you know what I'm saying, because they don't want them to have fun. But the reason parents try to keep you from that is because your mind is not ready for what might happen. It's not matured enough to deal with some things that might happen after that. And that's really my story. I started as a freshman at Scott High, playing out there as a lineman, and I was going to make my family proud of me. That's all I wanted, was I had my girlfriend. I wanted to make my mom and dad proud of me. Rain or shine or wherever the game was at. My mom and dad was in the bleachers. My mom's the screaming mom hollering down from the bleachers. And, my senior year, just another game. I knew this. I knew growing up that drug addicts were trash. Trust me. Everybody told me that it could never happen to me because there wasn't an addict in my family, right? I never had to worry about any of that. My parents never even smoked a cigarette. I've never heard my dad say a bad word or my mom. So I knew it couldn't happen to me. I knew they were losers, right? So coming out after senior year, lost a football game. And I got out to the parking lot, and that girl that I'd been with for 4 years, I caught her cheating on me. Mm-hmm. And something happened inside of my head. Something snapped. And I went instantly from, I used to go home and talk to my mom and my dad. I didn't go home and talk to my mom and my dad. They're the type that they'll pet you and love on you and want to help. And I didn't want nobody to help me. I wanted to be mad. I wanted to be angry. And that's what I went to doing, is to finding a different group. Parents, when your kids start bringing a different group around, red flag, heads up, something's going on. Mm-hmm. Get to asking questions, take the cell phones, see what's going on, have those hard conversations. I believe a lot of this mess could be fixed up if we have those hard conversations and hear what's really going on. And my mom and dad, they just wanted to help me. Shame on them. They wanted to help me. They wanted to fix me. And off I went. And I was just out with my best friend. This is my first drug dealer. This picture that's on there right now was took outside of another dealer's car. But the first guy that ever handed me a pill was not a guy that lived in a trailer with no water, no electric. Mm-hmm. This was my best friend. And I love this guy. Still love him today because I know this. It ain't his fault. I had a choice, right? I could have said no, right? But I didn't. I was talking about that situation, and he slid me over something. Listen, he had a house, and he had a nice vehicle, and he had girls around him all the time. As far as I could see at this part of my life, this guy had it going on. He had life figured out. Did not look like anything bad could come of this. That's just the truth. It looked like, hey, this is about to help me. And so I started talking about that thing that happened again. And he slid over a CD case and he said, try this. It'll make you feel better. And it did. That's why addiction is so powerful, because it did make me feel better. It did make me forget. But, we've been learning a lot, even in this last week, about what an Oxycontin could do, and about how, they targeted our area with this type of pain pill. And it's so addictive. I mean, it's ruined our community. All of Appalachia, all good country people know somebody that struggled with this thing and that it's affected. And all started right around the same time. And so I did that first pain pill and made me sick. That's what we were talking about earlier. And the second weekend I went out, I went all week and never tried it again, because I thought, who could spend money on something like that? That's crazy. But the next weekend I tried it again. But the third weekend, I remember, was my turn to buy. And I was working at Helen Foods, and I spent my whole paycheck on one pill. And it was like then that I realized something was going on, but I wouldn't say I wanted to quit. That's where it really got to taking off. So I started using every day, and, like I said, growed up with good family. And so this thing started, started getting arrested. We've got some of those pictures up here. I had the Tommy Silcox, a boy I went to school with, played football with, was just as good a guy as I was. Now is the second in command out here at the sheriff's department. And that very first picture, he was in my office the other day, and he said, "That's the guy." Because addiction took two friends that loved each other, played football with each other, and put us on two different sides. And when Tommy Silcox run across the guy at the front of the top page there, that was Byrge. That was Randy. And, they were wanting to search my vehicle because they'd been hearing what I'd been getting into. And they tore my vehicle up. And he said, "Randy, you need some help." And I said, "You don't care about me. You don't love me. All you want to do," and he says I cussed him like a dog. I'd like to think I didn't, but the truth is I probably did. And they arrested me that day. And, if you can imagine a guy you went to school with that you knew cared about you, taking you to jail, but that wasn't in my brain then. All I wanted was another pill. All I wanted was to forget who I was. That's all I wanted out of life. Nothing else mattered to me. I never spoke to my mom and my dad. I never had a dime in my pocket. All I cared about was forgetting who I was for 12 years of my life. The second picture, I was arrested. They had one of my friends had went and wore a wire on me, and the police department had a big sting operation, and they were picking people up all day long. And I remember calling the phone all day long trying to ask this guy where my stuff was at, because he was going to give me a real good deal. Ended up that night, me and two other guys, I won't say names because I don't tell on nobody, right? This is my business. I tell on Randy. Randy was a horrible person. If you've heard bad stories about Randy, they're probably true. So I pulled up at Helenwood Baptist Church parking lot to get my pills, and they run up, and when he handed me the pills, then next thing you know, I see cop cars rolling in, and I knew they had got me. And the two guys were outside of the vehicle, and they've got us all three handcuffed, and I just start crying, and I said, "Hey, take me. These guys don't have any idea what's going on."
Was there ever a time when you thought, I could stop this? Did you ever think, when you started kind of going into this, down this path, that I'll just do it a few more times, I know I can stop? Was there ever any of that?
Honest truth. I never wanted to.
Okay.
Never thought about it. I mean, there would be a couple moments, when I would get caught at the pawn shop, or when my mom and dad would catch a check missing out of the checkbook, where I would lie to people and, tell them I wanted to stop. But I mean, people have to realize this is my life. This is all that I cared about. Once I had that, then I could babysit the kids, right? Then I could play with everybody, but I couldn't function until I had this in my system. So out at the church parking lot, they let the other two guys go, and the sheriff, or the officer that was there, looked, and he said, "Randy, we know the difference between clean laundry and dirty laundry." Now, we were all three there doing the same thing, but Randy was the one they wanted. And so that was the second picture. The third picture was after I'd been in Corpus Christi, Texas for 2 months. I went from pain pills, and that's the way addiction goes. When they started clamping down on Oxycontins and shutting that down, then Randy moved into methamphetamine. And that's how that all happened. And if you can see, my smile's still crooked. I'd been there for 2.5 months. I think, right about there, I was probably 165 pounds. I left Scott County at 145 pounds soaking wet. That's really, the next part of my story is, I did all the bad, and I know a lot of people want to hear all the bad, my mom and dad, and sleeping with their purses under their pillow, making me sleep in the driveway. And listen, it's no different. My story is no different than anybody else that struggles with. Listen, we get started. We can't stop. We have to have it, and we'll do anything we can to get our hands on it the next time. Then that means anything. So after being arrested a few times, my mom and dad learning that their baby wasn't their baby no more, I was using language I don't use no more, and doing things that I don't do, hanging out with people that I don't hang around with, stealing everything nailed down. And finally, my mom and dad listened to everybody and said, we got to get him out of here. My dad and mom finally found something that they couldn't fix. My dad's got 3 boys. We've tore up a lot of stuff. And my dad could not fix me. I've been doing this for a while. I have seen people with big money. I call it stupid money. People that have money, stupid money. It can't fix it. There's no amount of money you can throw at it that will fix it. So my mom and dad knew they had to quit giving me money. And they said, if you want to continue to kill yourself, that's your business, but we're not helping you no more. And a mom and dad that love their kid more than their next breath would not allow me in their house. Locked me out, sent me on my way, wouldn't give me $5 for cigarettes no more. Sent me out, saved my life. And I tell people all the time, if you could imagine how hard it would be for those 2 people there to lock their baby boy. I'm their favorite. I don't care what my brother says. I'm their favorite. To lock me out, to know I was hungry, to know I was sick. But to know that what they were doing wasn't helping me anymore. There was no money they could give me. There was no stuff they could give me. That I had to know I had a problem. That's where it started. It was when I started sleeping out in the vehicle, looking inside a warm house, freezing to death, and thinking, man, what am I doing? Why can't I go inside? What's so wrong? I'm only hurting myself. That's what I always told myself. Wasn't realizing that my mom and dad couldn't sleep at night. If it was a cold, rainy night, my dad said they would set up all night, wonder if tonight's the night they get the call. Their baby was dead. Luckily, that never happened. They sent me to Corpus Christi, Texas, November 11th, 2012, 7/17. That's when I was saved. And listen, I grew up here. I sung in the youth choir. I had Bible preached and pounded in me my whole life. It was fake to me. I never cared nothing about it. Thought it was just a fairy tale people told people so they'd be good. I never seen anything that made me believe otherwise. But in Corpus Christi, I was away from everything, and I was concreted, and I listened to the preaching. And they said when I got saved, it looked like a freight train, that I was mad. And I said I was mad because the guy at the top, if you look inside the eyes, any before and after picture you see of somebody in recovery, always look at their eyes. I was dead inside. Had nothing to live for. Those clothes that I had on was all I owned. They didn't fit me. And I thought I looked okay. But if you look at the guy at the bottom, he's happy. My life is not perfect. I make mistakes every single day. But today I try. My daughter is not hungry. My daughter does not want for anything. That's probably a fault of my own. I probably get her more than I should. But I'm a different man. And people ask all the time, if I could go back and change it, would I? And the answer is no. That doesn't taste good to a lot of people. That doesn't sound good to a lot of people. I'm not even sure my mom and dad appreciate that, just to be honest with you. But I know this. I've seen darkness. I feel like I've seen hell itself in the life that I lived. I've been completely alone. I tell people it's bad to not have anywhere to go, but it's worse for no one to want you around. That's where my life got to. I don't live that life anymore. We were showing the pictures over there of my mom and my dad. And then we show the picture at the Boys and Girls Club where they have Citizen of the Year. And then look at there. There's my mom and dad's Michael and Stephanie in recovery. That's Miss Teresa. Miss Teresa, people don't understand why Miss Teresa is my best friend. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people. That lady should hate me more than anybody on this earth. But Miss Teresa's the one that kept taking my phone calls, that kept talking to me, that kept loving on me. And when the day come that I told her another lie, she caught me in another lie. She didn't say, Randy, you're trash. I was used to that. She didn't say, Randy, you'll never be nothing. I was used to that. All she said is, Randy, you need help. That's all she said. But she didn't just say, I'll pray for you and let me go on my way. Miss Teresa went to work, and Miss Teresa got me connected to the place that I went to. And it didn't stop there. I call Miss Teresa about 3 or 4 times a week still now. If Miss Teresa calls right now, or my mom and dad call right now, I get up and I leave because they did that for me.
Mm-hmm.
I found out when I got to Texas, I didn't have any friends. Nobody ever checked on me, not one time. Not one phone call. Did anybody ever call my mom and dad and ask if Randy's okay, if Randy's alive? These are the people that stuck by me. And so now my community's not ashamed of me. My community don't have to hide from me. They allow me to go in and speak at the schools and tell the kids the truth about what can happen with drug addiction. And I get to go and speak at a lot of churches. I speak at factories. I speak at Fox Toyota. I will speak at the Old County Jail. You give me a chance, I will go because I want to tell the story that if that day, if I never would have tried the pill, if I never would have sampled it, my life would have been completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are on the other side. Now this right here, pictures of the people that I work with the state of Tennessee. These are all the lifeliners throughout the state of Tennessee. Everybody you're looking at is in recovery from substance abuse or mental health. And every one of these people go out every day and try to find people struggling and give them a helping hand. Try to connect them. We can't make anybody do anything. Just had some calls last night, and sometimes I wish I could. Sometimes I wish I could kidnap them, lock them up till they get sober and make them do right. But we've learned that don't work. But these are the warriors that we work with throughout the state. Anywhere you're at, one of these people are pretty close to you. And we connect people into treatment. We try to start new meetings. And most of all, we share our story loudly. We go anywhere to share the story that you can come back, that there is hope after addiction, and that we believe that the opposite of addiction is connection. And that's really what we're doing here tonight, is connecting with more people, trying to get the story out to more people, that just because somebody makes a mistake don't mean that's always who they're going to be. If we all think about our lives, then we all realize we've all made mistakes. We've all fell short. But what do we do after that? That's the key piece. What do you do after that?
So your organization is called But God. So how did that kind of,
how
did that start?
But God Ministries right here in Scott County. We come back from Texas and was trying to reach out and help people. And my daddy started a halfway house, had no idea what he was doing. But my daddy kept me locked up in his house. My daddy kept the cell phone from me. My daddy kept the money from me. And my daddy take me out and taught me to be a man again. I had to start completely over. When people start using drugs, their brain quits growing. So my brain is stuck 12 years behind. You're around me long enough, you will believe that. I laugh, I cut up, I say stuff I shouldn't do, but that's just the truth about who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. So we come back and we started, and we were trying to get the community to come together because everybody's been affected by this problem. Listen, it's affecting our factories, it's affecting our churches, it's affecting our community. It's everybody in this community is affected by it. And so we were coming up to the 4th of July parade, and we decided we were going to put a parade together. And we were thinking about what we were going to put on these trailers. And, we had banners we were getting. We were decorating all this stuff. And my dad said, Randy, my gate's too big for just a But God sign. And he said, what should we put on it? And I was just sitting there thinking about how my dad used to explain it to me. See, my dad thinks he's more wicked than I ever thought about being, but he says his battle's in his mind, and the mistakes he makes are in his mind. He said, Randy, we all have problems. Yours just gets put in the paper. That's what he said. And that's really the truth. It would seem like that's everything that was happening. So I just looked at my dad and I said, everybody has a problem. No one can fix but God. So we called KC Graphics down there, and we said, hey, can you all do a banner for us? This is what we wanted to say. And so after they did the banner, they called back and she said, Randy, I can't charge you for that. I love that saying. we want to take it and put it up next to the highway up where her dad's property's at. And she said, let people see it. She said, once a month, we'll move it around and put it all over the county. And so we put it up, and it wasn't a week later. A guy, Jeremy West, called me, was who the second one was. And he said, Randy, I want to sponsor one of them banners. And I said, what in the world are you talking about? And he said, I'd like to pay for one of them banners. I've got another place I'd like to put one. So Jeremy West was the second one. And then now where we're at today, we've put over 88 of those banners up. I think we've still got 70 something of them. They're everywhere. If you go up Smoky Junction all the way at the top, we got a banner up there. So this one right here is actually over in North Carolina at a place we went to. So we just put the word out anywhere we can. And it's really, a reminder to us that it's not just the drug addicts that have made mistakes. We've all got a problem, and we all need to stick together, and we all need to try to help each other. So since doing those, I was at church, and Jim Birchfield come one day, and he threw me one of these silly rubber bracelets on, and he said, Randy, see what you can do with it. And there was 50 rubber bracelets in that thing. I hope you could see them. Jim Birchfield didn't know that before I left and went to treatment, my mom and dad's mailbox would have 50 Percocet 30s in it, and they wouldn't know nothing about it, from a dealer dropping them off and seeing what I could do with it. So my mind went right back to that same thing I used to do. And I tell people, you'll never lose the hustle. You might ought to just use it for something else. So we went and started hustling these bracelets out, giving them out to schools, giving them out I send them all over the place. Right now, we're about 50,000 of these silly rubber bracelets that we give out. And that's what we're doing. We're just trying to get the word out. If you'll read the verse, I know people that's worn for a long time and it's never read the verse, but that's the verse that when I was in Texas, the preacher was preaching out of that verse. And pretty much the long and short of it, if you read Ephesians 2, you'll get the whole picture. But verse 4 says, but God, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sin, hath quickened us together with Christ. By grace you're saved. And what that meant to me was, listen, everybody else was done with me. My mom and dad, who loved me, couldn't even do nothing for me. But there was a God that loved me. And there was a God that wanted something to do with me. So that day, that's when we said, hey, listen, nobody else wants me. Nobody else wants anything to do with me. And then come back and started trying to connect our community and bring people together. We're still trying to do it. I had a conversation with another preacher today, trying to get some more preachers together. We're going to do something, always something new to do. But in that parade, the first one, we ended up, I told them, listen, I love this beard. If you don't hear nothing else today, hopefully you can see this thing. I love this thing. It got about right here. And my mom said, Randy, you need to shave that. Thing's nasty. But I'm the type of boy, when a mama says that, I just let it grow. So I told the people in the community together, listen, I love this beard. But I said, if we can get 300 of you together, I'll let you shave it off. And well, they showed up. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it was for the beard. I think that was a good bonus. But I think our community wanted to come together and to say, hey, we got a problem. We need to work on something. So in front of probably, I think we ended up having 340 the first year. And my daughter got to take the razor and shave off my beard in front of a few thousand people. And you talk about looking silly. I think I look silly. There's my baby right there. Listen, that's my best friend. That's my counselor. I'd rather hang out with that girl than anybody in this world. I'll go grab her as soon as I get done from here. But that little girl got to shave my beard off, and she thinks we do it all the time. So the next year we went out and we did it again. I think we had 440 people show up the next year, but the deal was 500. So I didn't have to shave last year. And who knows if we'll do it again? I don't know. It's a lot of work. It's just like this. People think you just turn the computer on and sit here. They don't know everything that goes on behind it. But what I do want to do is I want to get the word out to Scott County that I'm sorry for the things I've done. I am. I really am. My mom and dad know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'm sorry for the things I've done. The people that I've hurt throughout the years, I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm out here just trying to help. I don't do it right. I don't have all the answers. Listen, I make mistakes. Even in my job, I've made mistakes. I don't got it all figured out, but I'm trying. And I'm going to keep trying, whatever I can do to try to reach our community and try to make a difference. So the next move we got is to try to put a place right here, to do exactly what my mom and daddy did without no knowledge of what they were doing, just to try to teach people who are sick how to live here again. I think we can do it.
Yeah. And it is fascinating and interesting and great that you can come back to the community. As we were talking before this, a lot of people wouldn't feel comfortable going back to their community. But to your point, that sense of belonging is extremely important to your recovery, your continued recovery.
Sure. And, that's what I tell people is I don't hide no more.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my addiction, listen, I would be right behind my mom and dad's house sleeping and they would never know I was there. But I do not hide anymore. I'm loud. People call me extra too much. Hey, that's okay. I'm not hiding anymore. I've got no secrets to tell. I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be perfect. Still to this day, not perfect. But I do try, and that's what I want to do is just keep trying.
Yeah, and it's such an amazing a testimony to be able to come back, because there are so many people. I feel just in the last 2 years from when we started really seeing things with the parade and the But God movement, it really seems like it has affected a lot of folks around here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and when people say that, I just kind of brush it off, right? Because once I get the way my mind works is once we get one thing going, I'm already thinking about the next 5 things. So that was great. That we had a lot of people to walk. The people that I work with think that that's great to have that many people together and to walk. But Randy thinks, hey, let's do something bigger. Let's get some more people. Nothing makes me feel better than when I walk through Walmart with my little girl and see somebody that has struggled and that has had nothing, and they're buying groceries with their kids.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I live for it. I want to see more of it because I know it can happen. That's connection.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get their kids back and they're with their families and they're out there reaching down and trying to help it. There's a lot of people in Scott County in recovery. I promise you. And I want everybody to know all of them. It ain't just me. I might be the loudest. I might be the ugliest. But listen, there's a bunch of them out here. And these people, once you sit down and you hear their story, it makes sense. I have no excuses. But there's some people that's had it rough and that don't have the support that I have, that don't have the church family that I had, that don't have a mom and dad like I have. And that's who we want to reach. That's who we want to get out and connect to, is the people that aren't blessed like I was.
Mm-hmm. So you're now a recovery specialist, and you work with the state, right? The state of Tennessee?
Yeah, it's a grant through the state of Tennessee, Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Okay.
Is where the grant comes through, but they funnel that through the S.T.A.N.D coalition. And the reason they use the coalition is because they're already working in the community.
Okay.
And listen, we believe in prevention also. We believe the best thing to do is to get as far upriver as you can, teach these kids the truth. And it hopes when that CD case comes through, whatever the drug, there's always going to be no drug. I don't care if they cancel everything we got now, there'll be something else new come up. So if we can educate these kids and teach them what could happen, then maybe when that opportunity arises, maybe they'll pass up.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a group the other day and I said, when I go and speak, a lot of people show up to hear that bad story and all the bad stuff. But what are we doing to encourage those kids that have never done that? If I got on here tonight and said, hey, at the local church, next Saturday, we're going to have a kid that's never done drugs. It's always done good in their life and is successful. How many of y'all are going to show up to listen to them talk? That's what I want to know. That's the powerful testimony. That's the one that didn't give in, that didn't break. Randy's a weak man. That's just who I am. I failed. I made mistakes. But somebody that can take that pressure and to move past it, that's what, listen, that encourages me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, it is, like I said, and a lot of people have commented on here, it is an amazing testimony. The fact that you're willing to just put yourself out there and talk about basically your fall and then your rise back through recovery. It is a very powerful testimony. And the fact that you're doing this in Scott County and that people, it's a message that's resonating with people is extremely powerful.
Well, that's what, I was calling my mom before we come on. And when I was in first grade, my mom dropped me off right in front of this old jail. And she said, this is where bad boys go. And she didn't tell the police that I was coming. She didn't tell them nothing. And she says she never pulled off, but I believe she left her 6, 7-year-old boy sitting here. And, she was trying to scare me into doing right.
Mhm.
And I said, obviously that method didn't work. She didn't scare me too bad. But now, where I'm at now, when I was in Corpus Christi, there was a man by the name of Jesse Butcher. And he's my best friend now. Miss Teresa's there, and Jesse Butcher is running a close second. I tell you, I love that man. But he was a police officer, and he sold everything. They sold their house and all their kids' stuff, and moved to Corpus Christi, Texas. I do not understand that. But he come down because he wanted to help people. He said he got tired of arresting people, taking them to jail, and trying to witness to them, and nobody would listen. And I educated him, and I said, listen, ain't no way we're listening. On the way to jail, we're thinking about how are we going to get out of that. Mm-hmm. So he quit being a police officer, and I met him in Corpus Christi, Texas. And that man brought his kids around, let his kids play Wii bowling. I know a lot of people think that's silly, but we got to be normal again.
Yeah.
He wasn't scared to have his kids around the bad boys, the trash. And I got to know Jesse Butcher for who he really was. And Jesse Butcher's helped me a lot in ministry and a lot about how to deal with people and talk with people. And I think I sent that picture. If we could
get Jesse, for it now.
When you look at him, you're going to think, yep, he used to be a cop, because he still looks like one. But I promise you, nowadays, when I'm in North Carolina, I sleep right in this cop's house. His kids call me their uncle. His wife loves me. They just had this new baby, and I got to go over and see her. I got to be there when Lane got his driver's license. They are not hiding from me, because there's nothing to hide from. We're both headed the same way. And that's what we're trying to get people to see is really the main key is to love on them, encourage them, try to teach by example, right? How to live. And this man right here, this family has done that for me. They've taught me. If you remember at the beginning of my story about what I wanted out of life, this is it. What my mom and dad had. This example. They travel all over the country now with the family ministry, letting people see what it's like when you stick together through the hard stuff and raise your boys right, and raise them like men. And now they've, a few years later in life, now they've got their daughter, and he said he'll be 75-year-old when she graduates high school. But they're doing it, and she's growing up in all these churches, and I like to get out there and visit with them every chance I get. But I get a little emotional when I talk about somebody who should not want anything to do with me, that allows me into their house. I promise you, after he sees this, he will call me. He will tell me he loves me, and I love him, and I love this family. And I finally, later on in life, I've realized what a real friend does. And Jesse Butcher has told me when I'm wrong, privately and in the right way. But he's told me when I'm wrong. I need that in my life. Randy don't always got it right. Randy, I'm wrong most of the time. People say, trust your gut. And I say, not mine. Mine's wrong all the time. So having people like this in my life, and my mom and my dad and Miss Teresa, and then, my church, and once you start seeing this thing, you understand why I've been successful. There's people that's behind me, that's encouraging me and helping me go on those hard days, those weekdays. So that's what we want to create right here in Scott County for everybody. If we have one central place that we can get people into, then all the churches, all the community can come and surround these people, and let's change Scott County. That's what we want to do.
Now, do you have a website or social media or anything where people can find you and your message?
Well, we've got Randall Byrge on there. Randy Byrge is the guy outside of the meth dealer's car, so don't message him. He won't get it. But I'd started a But God Ministry page, but it was just overwhelming for me. And to be honest with you, we've done so much through this page. I really want to cancel my personal page and just have a ministry page. So I can clock out every once in a while,
Of course.
and take a break. Once I come out, people were telling me, turn your phone off. And I thought, how can I do that? Right. I'm trying to help people. Everybody's depending on me. And a man told me one time, he said, Randy, you've got a God complex. You actually think you're the one fixing people. And that hit me. All I can do is the best I can. Everybody needs to take a break. Everybody needs, to calm down, right? And I need to take care of my daughter. I need to spend time with my family. I got to make sure my mental health is doing okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not, I can't help nobody. Once that thing takes off, I ain't sleeping. And you don't want to call me on one of those bad days. So now later on, I'm almost 10 years sober now, and I've learned that it's not about me. I'm not fixing anybody. I tell people want figures all the time, and I tell people I can tell you how many people I've talked into getting sober. The answer is 0. I've never sat down with somebody and talked them into stopping.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have been able to do is to be loud about my recovery, to go out in the community, and people will see that. And then they will come. And if they make that first step, and if they're reaching for it, if they're going to hustle for their recovery, then they can have it. I'm no sober superhero. I don't do anything anybody can't do. But I think with the family support that I have gave me a good leg up on everything.
Well, it is definitely an amazing testimony, and we thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come here tonight and talk about it with us and the people that watch this show. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Randy. And if anyone if anyone wants to reach out, is there a number for a recovery line or anything like that? We can put it in the comments here.
Oh, Tennessee Red Line caught me off guard, but hey, we should be ready. I should have a card on me here for the Tennessee Red Line. If not, we can call S.T.A.N.D at 569-9925. That's the S.T.A.N.D coalition here. And then I think I've got, boom, right here. Let me see if I can do this without getting too crazy.
It's
Which
right here.
camera is it? It's this
Right
one.
there.
That's the Tennessee
Cool.
Red Line.
Yeah.
Anywhere throughout the state, you call this number, you'll get someone in your area, and they can connect you, whether it be addiction, whether it be mental health, or whether it be gambling. They can connect you to a program close or get you into some meetings and some groups. That big picture of those people that you've seen, this will be the people that you talk to. Okay. Everybody that you reach will be in recovery themselves, so there'll be no judgment, and they'll do the best they can.
Awesome.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming out and chatting with us. And we're going to get you on a little bit longer tour of the jail here in just a little bit whenever we wrap up the podcast. But we got to get to our other little segment.
Yeah. So if you can just hang tight for just a minute, Randy, we're going to pull you off for just a second. And
Okay. Is the sound back?
Is the sound back?
How about now? Do we have sound now? How is the sound okay?
Come back to us.
Okay.
All right, the sound's
Good.
back. Okay.
Good.
Sorry. Anyway, so today in our the newspaper that we pulled for our section on today in Scott County is from December 9th, 1976. And in the front page of this sucker is all about the fire that destroyed Conester's department store, and they put the loss at $1.5 million. So this, if you read through the story on this one, this was the largest fire in Scott County history at the time. People say that you could see it from 22 miles away. At the writing of this newspaper, we do not know how the fire actually started, but maybe we'll find that once we go through the rest of our newspapers. But yeah, it really affected the entire town. But so we have several pictures that we have through here of the fire. So you can see the fires, firefighters from 4 different counties had to come and attempt to put this fire out, which was kind of interesting. So that was the front page news of December 9th, 1976. Again, just more, it basically took up the 4 pages, but the bottom part of it, because it's kind of interesting because right before that, and we'll get to that in a minute, the Conester was actually in another article.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so essentially, in this paper, we were celebrating all of the Christmas festivities here, which is something in Scott County we typically do around early December with the Christmas parade. And so on that very day, there were large crowds viewing the Christmas parade at the First Trust and the First Trust and Savings Bank float was the winner. It looks like, based on this article, that there were a lot of participants here, and the top winners of the awards were presented to First National Bank and BF Goodrich, which finished second and third respectively in the traditional competition.
Okay. And then after that, we've got another little front page story that says special brochure offered for items donated to capsule. And so here in Scott County, they actually have a time capsule that is buried on the square here in Huntsville. And it's due to be open in 2076. So this is the year that they actually started putting items into the time capsule. So what they wanted was anybody who could put something in there that wanted to donate something to go into the time capsule. They were offering a brochure that basically outlined the history of Scott County, the 65 years prior to 1976. So the entire brochure was given to you if you would put something in the time capsule. So it's kind of interesting that the time capsule will be opened in 2076. I think we have a picture of the time capsule.
Yeah, and what's cool about this is, we do a ghost and a history walk here in the town of Huntsville, and we're going to be starting that back up here in the spring when things kind of thaw and warm up just a little bit. But we do actually stop by this time capsule and talk a little bit about it. And I think it's going to be opened, 2076?
Yeah, 2076. I'll be there. I intend to be there.
And so we have a whole other section on this that Congressman Duncan, he lit up the Yule tree there at the Oneida Mini Park. And so again, this was a very busy week. We're very traditional here, traditional with our values and our history and our customs. So this whole section is about the crowd that gathered together to light the tree. I don't know if we do anything like that now, but
It'd be fun to bring that back.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then yes, we got some more pictures of the tree lighting ceremony, which is fun. And then right underneath that is it says the electricity is one of the state's most vital commodities. So it kind of goes through the Tennessee Energy Office there and kind of the rates for energy in 1976 and how they want to kind of increase coal and nuclear capacity to really make sure everybody here in Scott County had electricity on.
Interesting how times change.
Right. And if you want a round steak there at Waters Town and Country Market, it's 89 cents on this day. That was fun. And cooking beef, that's good price there.
It's like it's all meat for sale, except for corn and chili.
Who doesn't love good corn and chili?
Right. And again, fire was the big story this whole week. In an unrelated fire, there was a two-family house that suffered damage early on Sunday morning when a fire broke out in the living room. And the fire occurred about the same time as the one which destroyed the home of Mr. and Mrs. Barney Smithers. And so there were multiple houses as well as the big Canatzer market that was destroyed.
Yeah. Right underneath that, there's safety prevention for Christmas. They also had the children's birthdays that day. So we have Melissa K. Lowe. She's celebrating her birthday. Randy Lee Norris and Stephen Lee Smithers. They also had birthdays on this week. So cute little kids there. That's really fun. I like the fact that they do that in the newspaper.
I know everybody always seems to enjoy, showing the kids' birthdays and the good news. We don't have enough of that anymore.
Right.
And then kind of jumping back to our Canatzers, they're in the news again just earlier that week. They're in the paper.
Earlier that day.
Yeah, it was earlier that day. There was a large crowd that gathered there at the Canatzer store waiting on Santa. And
so Santa came in on that helicopter there that's on that first picture, on the top picture there. So that's what Canaster looked like before it caught on fire. So you see a very tall Santa running through a crowd there. There's over 1,000 people that came to see Santa on this day. They all took their pictures with him. So he set for over 250 pictures. But unfortunately, 8 hours after that, that's when the department store caught on fire.
Yeah, it's interesting in this actual article, and they even highlighted it down here. It says that 8 hours after the celebration, Knatzer's Big D department store was destroyed by fire.
Yeah, and so this is the third fire. We got a third fire this week at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Barney Smithers. Big Springs Road in High Point community was destroyed by fire about 6 a.m. on Sunday. The almost new 10-room brick home was lost to the flames.
Yeah, so 2 homes, and it looked like that other story was the one that referenced this particular house. And of course, we've got the wedding section. Again, everyone really seems to like that with the weddings, and then also
the anniversaries.
Yeah,
different parties. What's interesting about this one is that woman up there who's celebrating her wedding anniversary in Miss Parks, the one on the right there. She's from Ocala.
Oh, very
Ocala,
cool.
Florida. That's where I'm from. So small world.
And then, of course, the sextet provides entertainment at the Oneida B&W Yule Party. Probably the same Yule Party where they were lighting the tree, I guess.
Probably.
And then we also have a section talking about food as well as homemakers. And
then we have a very large ad telling you why ads really measure up. So get your ads by using a very large ad.
Well, and this is, and what's interesting to me about this page, and this is really fun. So you probably can't see it from this picture, but in the top section up there, we got a story about a family, Raymond and Floyd Hill, two boys there who traveled on a vacation to Alaska. And so it actually tells about their trip, what they saw, and one of those was the North Pole and the Alaskan pipeline. So, so really cool news there. And Amy asks, where exactly was the old Knatzer building that burned? It's my understanding, I believe that was up in Northtown Plaza. I may be wrong, but I believe that was up there, kind of where the Piggly Wiggly's was, the Save-A-Lot. I think that was up in that whole Northtown Plaza shopping center area.
Yeah, it was right next to the U Save, which was partially damaged in the fire, but they were able to actually save it. They just had to get rid of some of their food.
And then another, I believe this may be this is the last one that we have. To kind of round out the paper that was full of fires and other disasters, a series of natural disaster tests states that civil defense for preparedness reaction. And I believe.
Yeah, so this was a test that the governor wanted to put into place to make sure that everybody was ready in case of an earthquake or a tornado. Different power outages and stuff. So that's just kind of an interesting story. Again, kind of related to the fires and such, but kind of a busy week there in 1976.
Yeah, we've been covering the early 80s the last 2 weeks. I think we had 82 and 84. Yeah. So or 81, 82 and 81. So taking it on back a little bit, and again, busy with the Christmas celebrations and the mini fires.
Yeah. So and we just randomly grabbed these. So literally we have a stack of about 1,000 newspapers upstairs. And so we just randomly grab one every week. And this is the one that we grabbed this week.
Yeah. So
last piece of exciting news.
Yeah. So a couple more things. And of course we have, do we take date requests?
Sure. Throw it out there and we'll see if we can find it.
And then we'll form a greatest hits and see what, put those stories together.
There you go.
So we're really excited about this. You know, if you've been here into the jail, you know that you've come through our gift shop that we have. And we also have an online store. And so we're really excited about this new addition here. And we're hopefully going to be getting this, hopefully within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I believe this will be
sooner.
ready. And so essentially, see if I can hold it up here.
Yeah, you got it.
So we're going to be having a full color. Let's see if we can
unfold it there.
Yeah, so we've got this full color shirt. This is the back. It's a long sleeve t-shirt. And so, we've got shirts with the jail on it, but we haven't had any full color ones. So we've got this full color one. And then the front, it's got the logo. It's weird. Everything's backwards here. It's got our logo that we've got on the door, which is the jail handcuff logo. And so that's going to be available in long sleeve. And then we're also, after we get the long sleeve ones, we're going to have them in short sleeves as well. So we're really excited to be adding that, because a lot of people, when are you going to get some long sleeve t-shirts? So
yeah. Fun. Yeah. So like you said at the top of the hour, a lot of cool things are happening here. We still have flashlight tours for this month, a few spots left. And next month we have a really cool theme that we're excited to announce. So we will have those flashlight tours as well as public ghost hunts available. As Miranda said, if you don't see a date on the calendar that works for you, just give us a call and we can custom make a date for you. So that's kind of the best way to handle it if you don't see the date. But we're really excited to get people down here to the jail. I think we've got a lot to offer. And again, we'd like to thank Randall for coming in tonight and sharing his testimony with us. And thank you all for watching us as well. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, one little last thing to mention is our paranormal research study.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been going really well, but we need more people in here to help us with this. So the research study is going to be going until May 31st. So we've got like what, two months essentially.
Yeah.
And then we're going to close it off, and we're going to go through with the detective and do the big reveal. In case you don't know what this research study is, we have a detective who worked here at the jail who put some items in a container, and those items in that container, they relate to the jail, a crime, which was a murder, and some folks who were housed here in the jail. That's the only three things that Dr. Sumner and I actually ourselves know. We don't know what these items or item is in this container, but this jail has been sharing so many interesting things through our paranormal research. And we had a team in this weekend that apparently had a really amazing session with the item and put a lot of notes in the container, and I mean in the lockbox. And so essentially these teams come in and they will conduct their research. They write their answers on a paper that's sealed up and put in a lockbox. And so we don't want to know what it is until it comes time for the reveal. We're trying to keep all of the human bias out of it and really conduct some true scientific research here. So if you are interested, we've got teams that have booked, but we have dates available through May 31st. So if you book a paranormal investigation, you do get access to the item. If you're not a member of a team, or if you're a solo investigator or a medium or somebody that, just wants to come in and spend an hour with the item, call us at the number scrolling across on the bottom of the screen, and we'll set you up with an appointment. So we want to get as many people in so that we can find out if the jail will tell us what the items in the container is.
Yeah. So like Miranda said, it's been a great hit for the paranormal investigation teams that have come. Shout out to the Ghost Girls and Wayne, who came on Saturday. Great group of investigators. If you don't know who they are, look them up on Facebook. They're a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to having everybody who's already booked come here. Vicky, you guys, Sheila, we're looking forward to having you so much. But yeah, we just appreciate all of the support through the historical component as well as the paranormal component and through our podcast. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So get those dates in, because we have been getting bookings essentially almost every day the last little bit. So if it fills up before the 31st,
yeah,
you'll just have to wait until we do something like this again.
Yep.
So anyways, but again, thank you all so much. Thank you, Randy, for coming out here, and thank you everyone in the chat room that's had comments and that took the time to listen to us tonight.
Good night, everybody.